Hello, Spiceworld 2020 virtual attendees. My name is Alan Frank, and I'm the Remote Access and Control Specialist for Raritan, a brand of Legrand. As Richard Dominic just explained, we're going to do a live demonstration with access to a couple of DKX3 series products, as well as a DKX4101 to show you the new ultra-high definition KVM that can take you up to 4K to your client target. And we're going to show you some remote access to and using through video a 4 UST, which is capable of 3 ultra high definition 4K displays for access using our user station. Without any further ado, we're going to get right into a direct KVM session to a DKX3 808, a non-blocked KVM switch, 8 ports, direct access without any blocking. Of course, other products, depending on the model, have blocking or not, depending on which model you like, what budget you may have. In this case, I've logged in as a user into the local database. However, I can, if you need to, refer to LDAP, Active Directory, or Radius. And depending on your security, of course, you get presented with a list of servers, targets, and we'll just go ahead and launch one directly. And I'm going to scale that down. Oops, already scaled. So we got a high resolution display. I'm going to shrink that window down a little bit. I'll go ahead, just for the heck of it, launch a second connection to that same KVM switch. I'm going to scale that down a little bit. And let's go ahead and launch the other half of that particular server as well. Make sure it's scaled. There we go. So now I should be able to see all 3 of my computers. And this even shows you connection to one computer that has dual interface, dual DVI interface actually. So just to give you an idea there. Let's see what we can see. Let's launch a browser. And we're talking about absolute mouse, which means I basically just click, move directly over, and I'm launching the actual program that I double clicked on. So I'm just going to show you that we have 2 displays up here to the same computer, DVI1 and DVI2, just to give you an idea. And let's see if I can shrink that down. I just move it over to the other computer. Can't see it. If you want, you can go full screen and we can go from there. Let's get that back over here. At any time you want to have full access to that KVM, you can just double click. Now let's go one step further and just go ahead and launch another client using HTML. And we're using a method called DPA, Direct Port Access. And now I have that session going. Go ahead and shrink that down a little bit, maybe a little bit less. And then I'm going to launch yet another client with the good old Java. And let's see, let's make sure I get the right screen. I want to keep that. I'm downloading it to the client. I'm going to go ahead and launch that session. And at this point, we should have, what, 5 windows up, I think. Just to give you an idea what we can do, and let's make sure that's going to scale, and we'll shrink that one down. Got a little weather channel in the background. I hope they are okay with that. So now we've got our Spiceworld presentation. And what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 KVM sessions going on right now. All right. Just to give you a quick idea there. So let's go ahead and get out of these. We're going to go to our next screen, and we're going to talk about the Dominion KX4101. It is a standalone, unblocked, high-performance KVM that allows resolutions up to 4K, 30 frames per second, or 1920 1200 at 60 frames per second. Okay, we're launching in to the DKX4101 just like we did the DKX3 808 non-block, but this is a one-to-one high-performance KVM that allows us up to 4K UHD connections. Now, I've logged directly into the switch, and these are just thumbnail screenshots that we're getting from the switch. You can actually use your iPhone with the USB connection and configure these fourth generation DKX4101 devices now. So we're going to connect to it. I'm in as admin at this point, and at that point, you know, you have full access to the switch, but there's only the one port. So what I'm getting at is we have the same methodology that we just did on the DKX3, in that we have direct port access, and we can actually launch a direct connection to it. Kind of like if you wanted to embed an API call or something into your own environment so that you wouldn't have to go through the actual KVM switch, or you can actually do things like this through the command center and consolidate all your serial, your KVM, and all of your virtual and sideband access to all your equipment. So let me make sure that that's scaled. We'll cut that down a little bit. And that's 2 sessions actually with 2 different clients to the same KVM. You can actually have 8 users concurrently to any single port. It gives you just a quick idea. So we're going to go ahead and close these. We're going to jump out now to see a live demonstration of all of this action from a DKX4 user station. Here we go. Hi, I'm Alan Frank, and with the time we have left, I wanted to show you a live presentation of what we have going on utilizing a DKX4 user station, or the DKX4 UST. I actually have 2 of them in use right now. They come with a nice VESA mount. They're on the back of each one of the 32-inch displays. I have one mounted in the center that controls the 3 1920 1200s at 60 frames per second. The 3 4K UHDs support 30 frames per second, are connected to one that's mounted on a VESA behind that second monitor as well. So in the center we have a couple of feeds. In the center left, in the center, we have the same feed coming in from Weather Channel right now, and that's done as a representation so that you can actually see the latency between 2 different sites. This center one is a DKX4 101 at 60 frames per second, 1920 by 1080, and it's local in this premise. The other one is remote in my home through a static VPN, and gives you an idea. We have the same feed as I mentioned with the content. We can focus in a little bit on that. I wanted you to see a little bit of the capability that we can projecting across or using all of these displays. The UST has a few unique capabilities, and one of them is for me to be able to pre-sequence screenshots or screen savings of the targets that I want to see. And all I have to do, and I'm working with the top display at this point, the top set is the secondary DKX4 UST, and I don't know that you can see that, but I just rolled my mouse up from the bottom to the top, and at any time I want to get directed focus at a KVM session, I just simply point and double click, and I can do that with just about any one of the sessions that we're working with here. So if I wanted to go into the live feed, we can actually do that, and I'll go back down out. So now with a couple of control sequences, I can change the displays and the setup and the makeup of what's going on. This is the feed that we saw earlier, the Corning Museum and the glass blowers, and we saw that through the DPA, direct port access, and as well through the KVM. And let's see, I can go to what I call a quad screen. It's kind of like my drive-in setup, and I can switch between these screens, and I can watch the orcas swimming up off the shore in Alaska thanks to explore.org, the live cams. Change some things around a little bit, it's that quick. Now at the bottom of the screen you see a little bit of activity over there, and that's the far left side. I basically have a port scan going on just so that you can see those port scans are serial based, and they're going to the backbone infrastructure should someone have connected improperly with the wrong connection port, I would see that pop up. And with the Raritan serial products, if we wanted to with the SX2s, excuse me, it's been a long day, we could actually watch that for specific syntax and send us an error or alert us via email or typical SNMP type scenarios. I have a computer up top that has a problem, and so I'm going to gain access to that just to show you a little bit of maybe of out-of-band access and BIOS level access. And I'm just going to show you quickly BIOS level access to a target. Now that we've focused in on the top screens, we're running short of time, but what would a KVM-Over-IP session be without showing BIOS level access to a target? Oh, we've been blocked. We have 4 connections already to our DKX416, so I'll have to eliminate one of those connections and relaunch that session. That's blocking. So we should have access now to BIOS level access of a computer that is stuck in a bad boot mode. And that, my friends, concludes our demonstration for today. Thank you for watching our presentation for Spiceworld 2020. If you'd like to have any information, just hit raritan.com or legrand.us and we'll be there for you. Thanks.